Hit me!
Episode 404.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Tony Abdullah. It's a tech podcast, but we're a shit ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. And now, here's Will and Tony.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
I had to play that one just to make myself feel good, everybody. Hi, welcome. Another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
You want to take part in the program? Can one of many ways. Just chat wherever you find it. It used to be that the banter was, you want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways. One of them is Twitter. And then I would throw a trend. He's like, oh, it's hashtag NetHeads. The only people that I'm sure listen to this are the people that have always listened to us. So they already know that. Surprise, everybody, show today on Sunday. I know the promotional machine didn't do a very good job of promoting it, but with good reason. But first, let's check in instead with our co-host of the week, which is good old Tony. Thank you again, as always, Tony, for dropping in. I really appreciate it. How
not
are
a
things
problem.
in your world?
Things are going great. I realize weekends are busier than my work week, but other than that, I'm perfectly fine.
You know, it's funny you mention that because we are kind of killing ourselves. Now, next weekend, though, is Easter. So some of the things that we do, we're probably not going to do. Like NetHeads will probably be a pickup show elsewhere in the week, proceeding the events of which I am speaking of, which is the holidays of, what is that thing called again? Easter?
Yeah.
I believe. So we're going to obviously not be live next week. That's just not going to happen. But what we are going to do is a pickup show sometime. And hopefully things will be a little more together. Because I will be honest, in dipping into my life and telling you guys everything, currently I am in a state of disarray. And I'll very briefly explain why, if it's even possible for me to do that. So, and I want to apologize to the people that are watching the original live and unedited version of NetHeads on YouTube, because there it is going to be, there's going to be a little bit of static, which is the bane of my existence. So, very long story short, we've been running this podcast out of a crippled studio for, I want to say, a few weeks now, okay? For lack of a better term. Are we streaming okay?
Yeah, we got people in the chats too.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm looking at Restream and it's, because everybody loves to hear. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Digital Pollution. Hell of a long time since we chatted. Definitely. Just let me know who you really are. Anyway, so for those that are in the know, unlike Digital Pollution, because it's been years, but so happy to know you're there. We've been running the podcast out of a crippled studio for the past couple of weeks because the device that I run everything through, I just can't simply use a computer like the rest of the world, right, Tony? I can't do it. It's just not in my fashion. It's not in my nature. I got to make things overcomplicated. I need a separate audio source for everything. There's my microphone. Separate audio source goes into a mixer. Sound effects, different machine goes into the mixer. Very soon, the ability for people to interact with us live, if you wanted to take part in it, is very simple, by the way. If you go to either netheadsonair.com or maybe the Patreon has it, but if you join our Discord, one of the things in there are two audio channels. One's the waiting room, which everybody can drop into and chill in. And then there is like the main chat. So if you wanted to talk to us live on air like the way we used to take phone calls, you'll be able to do it through Discord. It just takes a host. You drop into the waiting room, which lets us know you're interested in talking. And then we can drag you into the main chat as authorized admins. So very soon that will be happening. And that's on a computer to my right. But I had to swap out the mixer. I got it replaced. The master volume didn't exist anymore. Yet somehow it was still sending audio to everywhere it needed to. It was a functional contradiction, is what it was.
It was a zombie. It was like a zombie board.
It was a technical contradiction as well. Take your pick. And so I finally decided, it's time. Plus, I got to ship this back, or I'll get charged full rate. Which I got to give it up to not Zoom, the telecommunications company, but Zoom, the audio equipment company. This thing is well out of warranty. It was originally purchased in 2017, so long out of warranty. But they're like, hey, you're a customer. You want a replacement for 50%? All you got to do is send us this one back, and we'll send you a brand new one in the box for half the cost. I'm like, boy, howdy, will I take advantage of that. So it was finally time to do the swap because the other one's got to go back or I'm going to get billed. Now, it should just have been as simple as swapping it out. But I wanted to simplify my desk. The mixer never gets touched, okay, except when we're starting a show.
Right.
Other than that, nothing ever gets. Don't need to do this, don't need to do that. Nothing changes. Nothing gets touched. As a matter of fact, I to keep dust from getting in it, I put a T-shirt over the whole darn thing so it doesn't get dusty while it's sitting there waiting. So I'm like, you know what? Even though I got a standing desk, I'm going to move this thing off of the desk. We'll give it enough slack. I'm going to put it over here to the side so I can free my immediate area. Start giving my mind room to breathe in here. And in doing so, what I ended up doing was unleashing all hell on myself. Because I moved that over there. That introduced a buzz, which then got a bee stuck in my bonnet to then try and rewire everything. Which, by the way, I want to show you something that I saved specifically for the show that I'm not seeing now, of course, because of the frenzied state I've been in. But
because
previously,
you've cleaned that space and it's more open and freeing, so you can't see things.
I can't see things now. No, I don't know what I did with it, but I specifically got it, cut it in half to make sure it would never get used again, threw it in the garbage. But then I took it out of the garbage because I'm like, oh, I could talk about it on the show. There was static. I'd moved the mixer over and done nothing else, and somehow static was getting to only one machine, the one we broadcast through, the one that we go out to the world and all the other places on the internet through. It's like, well, God damn it. And then I swapped out that one cable and everything was fine. Everything was hunky-dory. So I'm like, okay, cut the cable. It's bad. Here we go. But now, here's what happened, which will take us into what will potentially be just an ongoing segment in the future, which is our 3D printed section of the show. Because as you know, I am a 3D printing. I'm not even aficionado. I think at this point we would just call it a junkie. I ordered off of Amazon because I wanted to get the desk also cleaned up and organized. There's always been this hellacious pile of overspillage of cables from all of the things that get added in and disorganizedly put in and all that jazz, all the changes I make and all these things. And I said, you know what? Let's do this right, Tony. So I ordered myself a 12-outlet power strip that I could mount under the desk. So that way everything that is used for audio in the studio can just be in the one power strip. Eliminate the potential for a ground loop issue. Take out a buzz, even though we got a buzz now again anyway. So then what I did is I thought, okay, well, yeah, we're going to do it right. Let's order this thing that I found that'll be like a little basket to hold. All of the monitors have power bricks on them. And those are very inconvenient when it comes to trying to clean up your cables. So this was like a little cable hammock you can hang on your desk. Okay?
Okay.
There are clips, there are tubing and everything else. And then I ordered these things that they call J-rails for organizing and routing the cables through. I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. And I get them. And these things are like yay big. They're like yay big. Like, that's not acceptable. So naturally, I go on the internet and I said, hey, internet, can you please tell me, has anyone made an under-the-desk cable organizing solution? Of course they have, Tony. It's bigger versions of these same J-rails. Let me show you. So I spent the last 2 days printing in various lengths what you see here. This simple block Get close for it, right? It's called a J clamp because you see that little J there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And if you got the old 3M tape, you throw that on the back, stick it under your desk. Now you've got one side that conveniently comes down to let you run cables in through a nice fat channel. And then you got the sticky stuff to hold it under your desk. So I've got a bunch of these under the desk now. And I've got all the things that power this place I'm in that touch audio into the same outlet. And for some reason, we're getting a ground loop issue again. Son of a biscuit. But I will say that as an organizing concept, these things do work great. Like these tiny, and actually, the other funny thing about them is that originally, because, bed adhesion is one of the things that 3D printers always have to deal with. It's our constant bane of our existence. And these print standing up like this. Okay. And I forgot to put a brim on them because, as it gets taller, I have a bed slinger, not a Core XY. So you got the print head going back and forth, but then you got a bed constantly shifting. So if something gets taller, there's only so much you can do against physics other than slowing down the print. So I did have a few failures, but in almost every case of the failures that I had, the end product is still usable. These little ones.
Exactly.
I did not print these, intending to have small ones, but I got them. So at the back, there are two computers underneath the desk. So behind each of them are two of these. At the corners of the desk on either side, there are two of these. On the part that moves of the desk of the lifting legs, there are two much longer ones. And then there are some other parallel running longer ones. So I got all of those things in, but that's like the reason why we're starting late and nothing is promoted, because essentially since I talked to you this morning at 11 a.m., my time, doing TARDIS talk, I've been on my back, and not in a fun way, just like going like, oh, God damn it, oh wait, where is this? And the sound of screws falling by my head just continuously happening.
I mean, other than knowing what you were doing, that still sounds like the fun way.
I mean, right? But it's not. It wasn't at all. But I did get them done. So now what may be happening, the buzz may be because something is too close to something else. So now I need to go back into whatever strategy I was doing and make sure I take anything that is a power cable and make sure it's not going through the same routing point as an audio cable to make sure it's not a shielding issue. But that's one way I'm using 3D printing to hopefully improve my life. Have you done anything in your own like personal 3D printing journey where you used something, you 3D printed something to get organized?
Oh, absolutely. So when I first started doing all the content creation, one of the things I found was I had a lot of cables that would sit, whether it was phone chargers or the cables for different things like microphones if I had to switch out, because I didn't always have all of the USB hubs that I needed. And so I had one, it looked like a comb, but they were wider, and the cables would sit in, and that way the actual let's not do that way. The joint would not hold, or it would hold it in place until I needed to pull it and use it. More recently, the most I'm doing is I'm working on 3D printing the Stream Deck under the desk holder, and I've got these headphones. I have broken a set already, and I didn't want to do that again, so I 3D printed a hook that attaches, because I have one of the IKEA build your own desk units. And so I have cabinets on both ends, but I got the extra wide desk or countertop. And so I have to have a tube leg that's telescoping or telescopic. And so it attaches right to the side of the leg and it holds. And then I use some electrical tape just to make it a little bit sturdy, because this is a heavy headset. And I've not dropped it or got it tangled up as much. So,
since we last talked, actually, another one of the things that I've had to deal with is the family washing machine broke. Okay. And then there was the decision, do we get it fixed? Do we get a new one? Do we get it fixed? Do we get a new one?
Was it just not heating?
Yeah, it was the heating element that actually went out on it. So technically speaking,
that's what happens to mine all the time.
Still worked as a dishwasher, just wasn't so good at drying. And during the time while we were deciding what we were going to do, because we do still maintain a home warranty until the end of this month. I'm finally getting rid of it. And it would have only cost $125 to have it fixed, which I probably still should have done and then sold it for the same $125 and gotten a wash. But it's already been repaired twice before for other issues. So I'm like, you know what? Third time's a lemon, you're out. And so we finally decided to get a new one. Now, a little while back, before I got the dishwasher, I also got a new faucet for the kitchen because the one that was in there used to be motion sensor. The motion sensor stopped working, and at some point, the rubber that covered the switch to go from regular flow to vegetable sprayer, that rubber had fallen apart and drifted away. So I'm like, this looks janky. I don't like it. And then when it came to getting a new dishwasher, the fastest we could get one with installation would have been next week. And this was last week's problem. So that's 2 weeks trying to get some. So I guess everyone's panic buying new appliances. So I decided, you know what? It's a dishwasher. Forget it. I know how to install a dishwasher. I'll bite the bullet. I'll install the dishwasher. And I kid you not, Tony, that install would have taken like maybe 25, 30 minutes. But because I wanted to switch out the goddamn faucet, that was the longest time. And I bring this up because, one, you know, it had nothing to do with 3D printing organization, but it was another time I was on my back a lot. Faucets take so long to replace, especially under any sink, because there's always something in the way, you know, like for the kitchen sink, you got the garbage disposal in the way, and I'm under there, and literally I'm having to spend almost the entire install of the sink with one arm bent behind my head like this, so I could effectively use my primary hand, and then my left hand was kind of up behind that hand like this to I mean, I don't know why we ever came up with the concept of the sink the way we have, with plumbing underneath. It should all be plumbed above. You know what I mean? It should the water comes up at 2 pipes, plumbs right there. Forget a good clean look. Let's make life convenient. Oh, it's terrible trying to put these damn things in.
No, I know exactly. We had a leak on the dishwasher upstairs. And so I decided to buy a new hose, and as I was getting ready to take the new hose off of the attachment under the sink, then it started leaking under the sink. And so I decided to tighten that hose back up, and we just don't use that dishwasher. We'll get it fixed eventually. The dishwasher downstairs works fine. If we're really pressed to want to use the dishwasher, we'll take dishes downstairs. Otherwise, hand washing is perfectly fine for us.
Taking all your dishes for a walk. I like it. That's a good. Yeah. No, I completely get it, man. But I will say that during this wonderful time of doing sink and dishwasher, right? Only one trip to the hardware store was required. Just one.
Good on you.
Right? Because usually any kind of DIY project, it's like a minimum of 3 trips, and at some point a soda because you need the caffeine and the sugar, and beef jerky because the hardware store and on road trips is the only time beef jerky looks good.
Let me just tell you this. Did some work in the unfinished part of our basement that's more of our storage room, where our HVAC and our washing machines and everything. Everything's been great. The water heater's not leaking anymore, which I don't know how that happened. The HVAC is working. There's propane going to our appliances, so we're actually heating things and not living in, the Stone Ages with cold showers. And then I went and sat down, got some stuff ready for the shows for this weekend. And I went back in to switch the laundry over, and all of a sudden there's a puddle on the floor. And I'm just like, and then I look at the HVAC unit and it's wet. There's water trickling down the side of the HVAC. And I look up and one of the pipes, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe the unit it's on AC and maybe something got clogged. So I'm like trying to flush it. And then all of a sudden it's just one of the brass or copper pipes has got this tiny pinhole. And so I thought I had enough of the sealing tape to seal the hole. I did not. And so I just wrapped towels around everything, and we went to bed to get up in the morning because all of the Walmarts in our area are non 24-hour. So you have to wait until they open in the morning to get it. And so I ended up working from home that day, making sure that I was shoring everything up. And I did not also realize that in the process of this, it was good I was home. And this always happens. If I don't ever come home, things are fine. When I come home or if I work from home, stuff is going to happen.
That's when the problems happen, huh? Well, let me
All of
tell
a
you
sudden,
something.
one of those giant carpenter pieces flying overhead, they were coming in through the dryer vent. So I had to find a way to seal that up too.
You know, Tony, the thing is, when life throws these challenges at us, it's really important to be able to have our wits about us, to have a good, focused, functioning mind. And we need to maintain energy. And let me tell you something. One way you can do that is with Magic Mind. Now, this is the first time I am a brand ambassador. So I have not discovered what diplomatic immunity this ambassadorship grants me.
Sure.
But I tell you what it does provide me is a high-functioning brain with an energetic level, because the Magic Mind was created by somebody whose doctor basically told him, man, the way your lifestyle is going, you got to cut down stress and you got to get rid of caffeine. And they said, wait a second, this is not the life I want to live, which I completely agree with. And that's the reason why I take Magic Mind as well. For one thing, it helps with greater mental focus. It has wonderful holistic and organic ingredients, including organic California mushrooms. No, not the really fun kind, but it's still lion's mane for energy. They got the cordyceps for the focus and the energy. Them mushrooms. They've also got ceremonial matcha. I don't know if you're aware of this. The matcha is ceremonial. So I'm an ambassador performing a ceremony, Tony, of Magic Mind. And the beautiful thing about it is that the wonderful ingredients of Magic Mind do is they help carry your coffee in a much better way. You're not going to have that caffeine crash. You're going to have greater focus and especially the energy. That's the important part. Now, you've heard me say a few things, kids. This is the craziness that's going to happen, and it's going to happen for only the first 10 listeners that take advantage of it. If you use my link at magicmind.com/netheadlt40, you can get up to 40% off your purchase. Usually, I'm telling you, you got to use that code for like the 44 or the 48% on a subscription. But if you're like, you know what, I got to try it first, Will. I got to try it first. I want to burn that deep, deep discount on a subscription on just a purchase. Well, this is your opportunity. magicmind.com/netheadlt40. You can get up to 40% off a single purchase. So that'll give you 15 days of Magic Mind to give it a real shot with this shot for mental clarity and energy. Improve your mental health, folks, and dip into that Magic Mind. I use it every single morning. As an ambassador, I have a 30-day supply at my leisure, and I guarantee you I will take it. Some days I may not even have it in the morning. Some days I'll take it in the afternoon to kind of get me over that hump as well. But I'm living proof, guys. It's a good product. I love taking my Magic Mind shot, man. I shake that bottle up, pop that crack lid. You got to be clarified there. Take that shot, and I know within 30 minutes, everything that ails my mind is going to be so much better. Robert Manning, what is up, my brother?
Hey, I remember you actually doing one of the TARDIS Hawk shows, taking the shot at the beginning, and we ended up going long.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right, baby. Gives you that energy, make you go all day long, baby. Yeah. Magic NetHeads. Hold on, let me finish the fries. I don't know why I just put those in my mouth. magicmind.com/netheadlt40. A way to go. Robert Manning reminds me, we also got to give a shout out to our Patreon subscriber of the week. Did not shout him out last week, so we're going to actually say that. We speak your name, sir, Kevin Conroy. No, not that Kevin Conroy. That one is sadly passed in the greatest Batman voice of all time. This Kevin Conroy is just a cool guy who also gave me one of these days when I fit back into it again, I will wear it. It's a NetHeads hoodie that on the side, it has an official badge of man in the chair, because for Kevin Smith, I'm the guy in the chair. And it's a guy in the chair service badge. It's a wonderful hoodie. I love it. So Kevin Conroy, we speak your name. Robert Manning reminded me of that, because Robert Manning was the first one of our I think it's Bobcat driver level on the Patreon, where you can get up to a one-time 20-minute phone call with the nethead of your choice. You get all of the benefits that come with the subscription, but you also get a 20-minute phone call. So he ended up taking me down. He's been listening to the NetHeads podcast while working, the back episodes, which on our Patreon is the only place you can get all the episodes of NetHeads that have ever existed. Our entire catalog. So if you want to be like him and go through the whole back catalog, it's right there. So it was more like a memory lane walk. And just like, hey, well, where's this person? Hey, whatever happened with this? Did anyone ever win Will's sack? You know, these kind of questions got answered. So that was a fun, it made me feel a little old, Tony. I'm not going to lie, because this podcast has been going a while.
Yeah.
Okay. But, let me tell you.
It sounds like he's kind of in the running for the historian for the NetHeads. It sounds like.
Yes. Every podcast needs an official historian. Somebody that can, and let me tell you something. That guy's got some memory retention. I'm just saying. Also, he's quality controlling the back catalog and finally, you know, this episode doesn't play. I'm like, no, I don't. Why would I go back and listen to that? I was there for it. Okay, I lived it, baby. But it's nice being able to fix things that are broken. Speaking of things that are broken, Tony, unfortunately in this house we had a loss. Not only the dishwasher, but in what will soon be known as our What the Tech segment. There are two things I love, Tony. I love technology.
Mm-hmm.
I love coffee. Okay?
Oh, no.
And my Breville Barista Express, my wonderful coffee appliance that I have been using since 2019. So almost 6 long years. If it had made it until September, I would have been using it. It's actually not something so bad. The portafilter, if you don't get it just right locked in, it'll vibrate itself out. But it still works.
Yeah.
Okay, it still works. I will put that out there. It wasn't a complete loss. Look, Tony, I didn't manufacture a problem, but I took advantage of an existing problem so that I could do something really, really stupid. And what I did is I bought a new espresso machine. And it arrived. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Meraki Espresso Machine, but holy shit, have I been doing it wrong for years. My Lord.
Wait, and where did you hear about this espresso machine?
Was it from you? I don't know.
Was this the one that was that was going around TikTok?
Oh, was it going around TikTok too?
Well, there was an espresso machine that also had the separate steamer.
Well, it has its own boiler for the steamer, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know it was going around TikTok. It popped up when I was going through the coffee realm of YouTube, I think is where I stumbled across it. Or maybe I was in a Coffee Creators Live and somebody had mentioned the Meraki. What I'm talking about is the Meraki. Now, I am quite uncharacteristically taking a very large risk on this because it is, I do not mean to be gauche, but it is not cheap, okay?
Sure.
And this is not the time to be expending credit on dumb purchases if you live in the United States. All that set aside, I got one of these things. Now, it is an amazing device. I will admit that. But I must also freely admit, as a tech enthusiast, this device scares the shit out of me because it is still in its first year. It just completed a Kickstarter, I think at the latter part of 2024. They are already on version 3. The one that I bought is version 3 of the device. I don't know if that's the one that they went to Kickstarter with, but for it's a relatively young espresso machine, okay?
Right.
But it delivers on every single level that you would want for an espresso machine. Excuse me for a second. You ever just, when you're sitting there, and it only happens, I think, when we're talking, it's like you can get the most painful dry point.
Yeah.
I've
been there.
I don't know why it's happening, but boy, is it hitting hard. And unfortunately, a chocolate milkshake does not, deliver the kind of clarifying feeling that I'm looking for. It's also damn hard to drink. This thing is thick, son. It's thicker than the woman you want to be with. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that means. I apologize, everybody. I'm not a sexist, really. I just like to be goofy on the microphone. Anyway, this is a new technology, but as far as an espresso machine goes, it's kind of amazing. Okay, first of all, it has 3 separate areas to the unit. Yeah,
Right.
Thanks for providing an image for us, Will. Look it up yourself, kids. I can't do all the work. Okay. On the left side of the machine, when you were addressing it, is the grinder, built-in burr grinder. I opened it up to take a look at it. I shaved a little bit off the tip of my finger, fiddling with it. It is a very fine, sharp razor blade that's in that burr grinder. But the very cool thing is that it also comes with a metal cup that you put under the burr grinder. And yes, you can set the level of the grind, but what you also do is it's specific to the weight. So it will come in at or just under whatever amount of grounds you say you need. So for like me, doing a double espresso shot, I'm putting in 60 grams. Nope. 36 grams? 36. No. I can't remember right now, man. It doesn't matter. I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of 18 for a double shot of espresso. So 18 grams goes into this metal cup. Now, this metal cup is great because I also have a very long 4-pronged whisk that I use to make sure that there are no extra clumps from the grinding process. And I'm able to whisk it in the cup. But here's the best part. For the portafilter and the filter, you can put it right on top of this cup. It's got a built-in lip. And then you just turn it over, and now your grounds are in the filter. It also comes with a prepping station. So then you put your portafilter into the resting spot on it. And you get your, nope, you're not even tamping yet, man. This ain't a tamping time. Okay? It's not tamping time yet. No, first we got a load balance. And so it's this device that goes on top, and it helps make sure it's nice and level. And you've got an even amount of grounds everywhere before you tamp. So I take that sucker out, and then I set that down. It's weighted, too, so it helps push the grounds down. Then finally is the tamper. But I have got that balancer so extended out, it's almost tamping at the same time.
Right.
So it doesn't require a lot of effort when I do the tamping, but then I do that too. So all 3 of those tools come with it, or the station, that and that. And then you lock it in. And again, everything you're brewing is not by volume, it's by weight. So I'm doing, this is where I got the 60 grams. This is a double shot of espresso, so the end product should be around 60 grams, baby. And it's got this beautiful display, so you just say what it is you want to do. Boom. Now here's the best part. When you get to the frothing, although I will say, Meraki, you guys, you skimped a little bit on the frothing mug, because this thing might come in at a max of about 12 ounces. I've already got my own that is the ridiculous kind, just shy of what you probably worked with at Starbucks, Tony.
I actually have 4 of the Starbucks steaming mugs.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
So you're familiar with this, but this, first of all, it's this gorgeous gooseneck wand that's completely adjustable, angle. You want to work it out, but the best part is it's got a temperature sensor in the tip, and it has 3 holes for the steam to come out. So it froths it quick yet evenly and to just the right temperature. It'll automatically cut right off. Oh man. And the espresso I made from it, it was as though it were brewed from water derived from pure silk, Tony. That's how soft and I've been thinking I've been making espresso at home, but that was like Burger King espresso, okay? Now that I got this machine, I'm making the Pro League stuff.
Now you gotta learn how to do the flowers.
Huh?
Now you have to learn how to do the flowers.
I cannot do artwork to save my life. I've tried one. I should share the image, but I'm not going to, because I in earnest tried to make like a leaf, or the way I end up making them, they look more like a feather. Let's just say this one completely fell apart, because my wife always likes to look at it and guess what it was I was trying to make. And this time she looked at it, oh, you made me a dick. And no. Apparently I made me a dick. But that
it's a strong one, though. Double shot.
That is supposed to be a feather. I said, okay, but hold on. that's what you think you got. I made sure to accent it. You know, I gave it some more girth, gave it the berries to go with the twig, and that's the first piece of artwork I made on the machine. But still, it was an amazing espresso coming out of this machine. It is just absolutely delightful. And the fact that I can actually, I haven't tried to do it, and I may have misunderstood, and this may not be possible to do. I don't think I can pull a shot and do steam at the same time.
If it's the same machine that we're talking about that I was looking at that's recently been released, the separate broiler means you can do both at the same time.
Okay, so if I do that, then I'm going to set it for going coffee here, and then I'll have to see about triggering it manually, maybe, for the frothing.
My question for you: after you froth after you froth your milk, you do take a wet rag and kind of wrap around the wand and let it blow itself out, right?
If you mean after it, yes.
Yes.
If you mean before it, no.
No, not before. After the milk has been frothed, you take it out, you take it off the wand, and you blow the steam a little bit into like a wet rag, just to kind of make sure that, because what happens is when you have multiple holes in a wand, you will typically get milk that will lodge itself up the wand and then will cook itself into the wand, which will give you a burnt taste with the milk.
Just to add to that, the simple act of physics will also just naturally draw. Once the heat is gone, then the outside, and the pressure is gone, the outside pressure it'll reverse in. So it'll pull some milk up there. And yes, I have two different rags. I have a dry microfiber and I have a wet washcloth, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
like and that one is wet. I mean, it's soaked. It's like I soak it right before I start, because my wife I use regular milk for her coffees. I use almond milk. Please don't judge. And I will.
No, it's good.
I will immediately after it's done, I get it with the wet rag while it's still hot to clean the wand off. Then I put the rag down, and then I run it for 5 seconds and let it blow that snot out of there, because that's essentially what it's doing. It's like you made it sneeze.
Yeah. When I worked for Starbucks, one of the things that I was trained to do as a coffee master was clean the machines, because before we had the maestros, the ones with like the flying saucer looking hopper at the top that had both the caffeine and decaffeinated coffee. We had the ones that had the two wands that went down, and I was commissioned to go to a store because people were complaining that the coffee quality was poor. And I went in and I just took a pipe cleaner. I just started going at the wand and steaming and heating and everything else. And the chunks of like scaly, dried up milk was just insane. And then after I cleaned the machine, the first customer was like, "Wow, this tastes really good." And it's like, yeah, you've been drinking nasty milk flakes for God knows how long.
I actually, in my exploration of originally just trying to clean the Barista Express, I did find like one guy who was telling his employees, but he also posted this video as an informational item to everyone. And it's just like, you know, if it's off-peak time and you can have one machine down, then what you're going to do is you're just going to take a pitcher full of water and you're going to put it under that steam wand. And, you know, first you're just going to run it for a few minutes and then turn it off. And then just come back and do that time and time again, refresh the water, and you just kind of keep doing that throughout the day for the same effect. Let it draw the water back up, and that way you then blow it back out. And I'm telling you, man, a lot of people don't do that at home too when they have their home units, and that's nasty. There's no other way to put it. It's gross.
Oh yeah.
It's
like
terrible,
I have an automatic espresso machine. It doesn't have the independent broiler, which I wish it would do for the wand. And it's even really not that great of a wand, but it's a rather expensive Jura automatic espresso maker that has its own reservoir and stuff. And one of the things that I appreciate very much about this is every so often it will get to a point where it is the size that it's time to self-clean. And so I have the tablets for it. I throw it in. It does its process. It takes, I think, a little bit over an hour. And once it's done, the coffee is always so much better. And of course, the spray wand or the steam wand is detachable, so I can go through and clean it and put it through the dishwasher if I need to.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. I wish at Starbucks we had more of the hands-on, like doing it, because my first espresso machine was one of the Starbucks barista machines that they had there, and I used my employee discount, and it was where I had to learn how to, balance it, tamp it, put it in, lock it in, and then pour. And you get really used to figuring out how to make sure that something's right when it comes to making sure it pours equally, because if it's not pouring equally, you're doing something wrong. That's why they give you that little prong piece to kind of go through and kind of make sure it's all settling right, because you don't want clumps, you don't want moisture before your pour. And then even like learning how long to wait, like you don't anything longer than like 10 seconds with a poured shot of espresso, if it's not mixed with something or if it's not there to be drank, it's deteriorating right in front of you. It starts to separate and the crema goes bitter. So there's
Oh my
a whole
gosh.
science to it.
We use the name of the company, name of the coffee company, Storyville Coffee out of Washington. The espresso, their coffee beans are amazing. Their espresso beans, just as much, because I kid you not, I'm running my double shot, and I've got like maybe what looks like a 1/4 inch of espresso, because I put them into a clear decanter so I can see what's coming out, and then like 1.5 inches of crema that is just like going from a beautiful dark rich to a light color, and I'm like, this is amazing. The flavor is amazing. The machine is amazing, but pray for me because it's so dang new, I'm hoping it's going to be the Bamboo Lab device of coffee machine, and not the Anchor Make M5 kind of device of coffee machine.
In all honesty, the less plastic in the machine, the longer it will last. And regardless of whether it has plastic in it or not, the more you take care of it, it will last you a long time, regardless of whether it's a new model or anything like that. So you should be perfectly fine. Just remember, clean out that coffee grinder every once in a while. Like if you leave beans in it, that's fine, but then eventually take it, vacuum it out, and then wipe it out with a dry cloth, because the oils will break down and will destroy your grinder at some point if you don't.
Oh wow, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But then again, I do like basically once a month. At the point where I've gone through a few bags of coffee, and now I've cleared out the bin. That's when I'll take everything apart and vacuum it out and the like. But man, let me tell you something. That burr grinder was mean, because really it did a deep cut into my finger.
Oh yeah.
So them blades is new and sharp. But that's enough about that damn coffee maker, Tony. Other than it's amazing. I shouldn't have done it. My wife even says the coffee tastes amazing. So, the cool feature that it has that I haven't been able to get it to work.
What?
I bought a cup of coffee from a company that does this. It has an RFID chip on it, so you're supposed to be able to put the bag onto the sensor, and it'll tell you great recipes you can make with that particular coffee.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? Coffee Sense is what it's called.
Okay, you probably did need to get that if it can do that type of thing, but at the same time, you got it. So,
Robert Manning chiming in with a long series of Z's, and then saying, "Oh wait, I need some coffee so I can listen to this conversation about coffee machines." I'm wrapping it up anyway. Everyone's a critic.
Yeah, see, but you know what? As much as I love espresso, I do love myself some French press, and I will say this: this is a shameless plug, but I'm not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
If you've never had Bones Coffee and you've never tried their Star Wars line, the Twin Suns tiramisu is a very good cup of coffee in the French
Second time
press.
you mentioned this.
Because we'll drink it on the weekends for the most part, but it's so good. I normally don't like flavored coffee. I hated flavored coffee back when I remember subscribing to Javalia coffee just so I could get the coffee maker, because I was a poor college student, and then like canceling the subscription as soon as I got the coffee maker. But I always thought flavored coffees were useless, but this coffee is so good.
Interesting.
It's so good.
You may have intrigued me to finally check it. No, you didn't. Because I'm not making anything except what's coming out of this espresso machine. This morning, I'm sorry, guys, this is boring as hell, but I even just did 2 cups, I did my typical quad because I'm a quad guy, so it's 2 doubles. But I did that into a sipping cup instead. I had my syrups in there, and then I just topped it off with a little heavy cream. That's all I did. Still tasted amazing. Gave me enough motivation to get up and make my life a living hell in here, because now I've officially got, by the way, half of the desk done.
Nice.
When I knew I was going to have to switch out the mixer, not bakery mixer, by the way, just to be clear, audio mixer, I knew that it was going to instantly spawn 2 subquests, if you will. One of them I'd been preparing for, I still need to do. But I've gotten as far as, because I wanted to make sure we could do the podcast, I got as far as getting half of the desk done with all the organizers and the like. But there are still 2 subquests that have to happen after this. I'm sorry, I know it's late for you.
No, I all of a sudden I took a deep breath and it messed me up.
That'll get you. The first is there are still things on my desk that are network-based devices, which means they do not need to be on my desk, okay? Just like the mixer doesn't need to be on my desk, those don't need to be on my desk. Not to mention, it would take these devices out of the power mix altogether here on the desk. So I eliminate two bad things at once. I get free space. I get things off my desk, and I've cleared out a space on the bookshelf, which is right here. I picked up a separate router that I'm just going to plug right into the internet, the router that's right there too. I mean a hub, and I'm just going to take all of these devices, and they're just because there's 2 network storage devices, and then there is the Philips Hue like brain controller thingy that has to be hooked up to the internet. So all 3 of those things are going to get off my desk and move up there. So that's subquest number 1. And that means I'll be continuing this rewiring thing. And subquest number 2 is to like basically simplify the wiring here as well for audio. But I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. In the past, I've always gone different wiring options, just trying to achieve what should be simple.
Right.
But I don't know if I'm going to be sending some stuff back or if I'm going to have to do it, depending if I can get rid of the buzz that's going back to this machine.
Right.
Because there's 1 of 2 ways to do this. Now, one that would be a little bit simpler would be kind of converting to an XLR RCA hybrid. This is getting really technical, guys. I'm sorry,
right.
But because in the past, what I've done is I've used these USB Behringer sound cards. So that way it does your ins and your outs just through the RCA connectors. And then I've got stereo RCA to XLR adapters. So I could introduce those and see if it simplifies things here. It would reduce some of the wires and pieces that I've also got running in here. But that's the subquest too, is like if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that because 1, I would really love to send all that stuff back. And 2, I just want to be done with it. I just want to be able to have the standing desk go up and there's no wires hanging.
No, that makes sense.
But the big network storage to the right here is part of that right side mess, which also is bad because like you don't know this about this space, Tony, but this desk used to float in the middle of the office. And then for some reason, at some point, I think just to make it so that there's a more manageable space on one half, I decided to push the desk over. It's still in the middle of the room-ish, but it's against a wall. So I'm in a corner.
So the end is against the wall.
Yeah. Which makes working on that corner a little bit challenging unless I want to try and move the whole desk. But the other thing that kind of stemmed all of this craziness was that once I knew, this is actually the subquest that also happened. Once I moved the mixer out of here, then I knew I had no excuse to try and get this monitor in front of me finally centered the way I want it. So that, because unfortunately I have a ridiculous amount of monitors on my desk, but I wanted them visually kind of to flow a little more. I don't mind the big 49 one being flanked by two 24s. I don't mind that extra like half inch of space for the frame to be in there. But for some reason, there is something on the monitor arm that I'm using for the big 49-inch monitor that is still loose. So I, in a way, need to use the side monitors as a blocker to kind of hold them where they're at.
Okay.
I don't want to give up the monitor arm because it gives me some of the desk space back. But if these things, like I don't know, if you're looking at something all day, I think you could understand that it would start to drive you a little bit insane if you know that one piece is closer to you than the other when you're supposedly centered on it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if people that watch the podcast may have noticed, but my angle has changed again, which I've already said is one of the banes of my existence. The moment
We can
this
see
thing moves,
Deadpool now.
yeah, you can see Deadpool. There's a little bit more of me in the frame. There's a little more headspace here. But this in itself was another 30 minutes, and it's another reason why I don't want to move the damn monitors again. If I move the whole desk, this might get thrown off. And that's the kind of weird anxiety that I have to deal with instead of just like, oh, this is my working space. It should be that easy.
Listen, go full screen for me for a minute, because I have
Okay.
3 for me.
Oh, for you, yeah, okay. I thought you were saying
No,
go full screen.
no, for
like,
you,
let me
for
see
me.
the whole. I thought you were going to make commentary on my space.
No, so you
Okay.
have a big monitor, and then you have other screens. I have 3. One is vertical, the other 2 are horizontal. They take up the better chunk of the right side of my desk. I have a more open space on the left side, which is where I'm sitting right now talking to you. When I do shows, I'm not able to access my desktop. I am using the camera and the prompter through the desktop, but I am controlling my shows through a laptop in front of me. And mainly I am floating in the middle of the room like you said you are, but I don't have a wall I'm up against. I have the kitchen countertop here, and you see now that I have this monitor because I was getting the desktop working on a different computer, so that when I'm doing shows and stuff, I can at least have my logo back here behind me. But this is the illusion of how it looks, and I think it's why we're so well fit together, because I think we have a very similar, with the exception of all of the extra toys and stuff, the aesthetic that we have for like our display space. We want to have that appearance, but cable management and figuring out the computers is by far probably the bane of every streamer's existence, unless they've got people they can pay to do it for them, and that's not a lot. So
No. And I will say too that even I'm glad I printed extras of these, because I'm sure if there's something I'm going to end up not liking, I have the ability to just pull them down. But the cool thing is I've also been able to border almost the entire underside with these things. So no matter what I do have a place to run some cables.
right.
But the ground loop issue and buzz and there's static that's going to this machine, but I do not hear it. I am before where the problem is. Wherever the problem between this mixer and the computer is, it is unknown to me. It is,
Yeah.
I cannot hear it, which is why the final podcast, and for our Patreon subscribers, the exclusive before and after video that happens, because we like to give it to it on both ends.
At both ends.
Tony likes to say.
Yeah.
Those get the pristine audio. Those get everything that's edited. So unfortunately, on what would be viewed as probably one of the most important platforms for a podcast, where we're doing a long form video, we literally put our worst foot forward. Literally, like it's no
You
matter
get what you pay
no
for.
matter- No matter what, yeah, exactly. You get this for free on all the social media platforms. This is what you get. But if you didn't catch us live, which, by the way, think about that contradiction. Because the one thing that you want to do is nowadays, it's not about, I need subscribers. You need engagement, right? You need engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of going live if you're not going to get engagement? And then on the flip side, telling people, the place where I can potentially get the most engagement when I'm live is the place I'm giving you the worst product. That's what I'm saying. That's the contradiction I am in life. That is who I am, a walking, constant, persistent contradiction. And it sucks.
And we love you for it.
With that, folks, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode of NetHeads. Do not forget, up to 40% off your single purchase with the link, magicmind.com/NetheadLT20, using the code at NetheadLT20.
LT40.
40. Like I said, 40. I don't know why you said 20, Tony. That's really rude. Just link in the description, folks. That's the important part. But magicmind.com/NetheadLT40 for up to 40% off. It's only available to the first 10 people that redeem it, so... Otherwise, I don't know, maybe you got to use the LT20, LT40, whatever it takes. Look, guys, I had fun. I hope you had fun. Apparently, we put people to sleep with our coffee talk. Unironic, I guess.
Yeah, it must be decaf in some sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe next week we'll actually bring up Daredevil Born Again, but it ain't going to be this week.
Or Doctor Who.
Or Doctor Who. There's so much going on, so much.
Or Last of Us that came out like, what, 2 hours ago?
Doesn't matter. I'm not watching it till the whole thing dropped like last time. I can have that discipline for that one, especially since it's the second season, because if it's anything like the second game, there's some more root stuff a-coming, folks, and I don't know if my heart can handle it. So I'm going to wait on that, and that's all I'm going to say. Again, thank you, Tony, for joining me. Tell everybody where they can find you, of course.
Oh, well, I'm Mr. Marvelite anywhere on social media, but most importantly, check us out on It's Fanbox. That's itfanbox.com. That has where we post our shows, reviews, and different things like that. Or you can also check out those who are partnering with us, just like The Real Study, since they're having their show, or they had their show this evening. You can check us out at fanboxnetwork.com. That'll show you all of the podcasts that we have for that. And Will, thank you so much for having me again.
My pleasure, man. And of course, I'm just that Will Wilkins anywhere on social media. So if you can figure out the name right now where you're hearing or watching, you can figure it out there. And then look, a little tip, it just takes you to a link that links to all the other things. So if you go to like thatwillwilkins.com, it just takes you to a link for all the stuff. So that's the easiest way, because I mean, what are websites anymore? They're dead, aren't they? I think they're dead. I think websites, they don't really say, unless you're a corporation, what is a website anymore? Really?
That's really interesting conversation piece to have when I've basically spent the last 2 months building a website. But
I know, man. Hey, anything I can do to help boost you. Until next time, guys. My name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
And you know what? We'll be back soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Tony Abdullah.
Goodbye.
Signing off. I know. Stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads will be back soon.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Smodcast production. Smodcast Podcast, using our mouths on you since 2007.
Okay. You know what's funny is that now sitting here, for those that don't know, it wasn't mentioned in the rewiring talk, but I moved the under the desk controllers to be on either side of me. One of them's a little too close, but that's okay. It gets a little handsy. And the funniest part is now I feel like Captain Kirk, sitting in my chair and having controls at each finger, which I guess kind of makes sense when you think about the fact that I probably have the hair he would have right now if he didn't buy some, right? Fair enough.
Yeah.